Welcome to another That's What They Said, a podcast where we question the questionable lyrics of your favorite songs. Sarina&Scott, Spinelli. Really not questioning anything in this song because it's a great song, but we're still going to talk about it. Ready or Not by the Fugees from their second album, The Score. It came out in 1996. Ooh. Scott, take it away because this was your recommendation. And
all right, first off, so well done. I'm so proud that a lot of people, I didn't think this would happen to you, but a lot of people fall prey to thinking that this is the Fugees' debut album. It is not. Okay, it is not. This is obviously the album everybody knows. It's one of the best albums of all time, but it is not their first album.
Correct.
Also, when you said, your intro is always, actually give me the intro line again. Will we question the questionable lyrics of our favorite songs, right?
Yes.
And in this case, it is certainly it's one of my truly favorite songs
of
all time.
I question you for adding this to the questionable lyrics podcast.
To my own credit, I did as well earlier today. I wasn't sure why I picked this. It was an odd choice. I mean, I don't know what I was thinking because it's like, it's very hard to critique. Though we do have some nuggets, though. We have some fun facts and some nuggets. Do you want to go first?
Well, let's talk about the sampling of the song.
Okay.
And you know way more background information because you love the Fugees. Not that I didn't. The song is such a banger, but
well, actually, hold on. Before we get to that, let me say that this was my first. Well, I kind of fucked it up, but it was my first. It was supposed to be my first CD that I ever bought. I remember going to my cousin took me to the store.
Tower Records.
It might have been a Sam Goody or an FYE. And I bought this album, but then when I got home, I realized I actually didn't buy the album. I bought the bootleg versions, is what it was called. Do you remember that album they came out? It was like a bunch of remixes and such. And I would highly recommend, if you have never listened to it, to listen to it. There are some good remixes of the songs that are different and fun sounding, like an upbeat version of this very song. However, I just wanted to put that out there. This was supposed to be my first CD, but I fucked it up and I got the wrong one. Because they're both black covers.
Yes.
And they look kind of similar. And to my 9.5, 10-year-old eye, I didn't know. And so I messed it up.
I appreciate your honesty. Because I don't think anyone will be able to track that fact if you never revealed it. But the honesty.
I can't lie. I mean, how cool is it? I mean, how cool is it to be able to say that Fugees was your first album? But
you can't. So, considering it was not your first album, and nor was it the Fugees, so it's okay. This song sampled a few other songs. So it sampled the song "Ready or Not, Here I Come" by the Delphonics. That was an oldie back in 1968. Yes. And then the song also sampled Bodicia.
I don't know how to pronounce the name. It's by Enya. It's a song by Enya.
Yes. And that was from her first solo album. So, it might have hit hard home when she heard that chord you hear right at the beginning of this song where it's like, you can play it here right now.
Yeah.
That's pretty substantial. It's a significant portion of the song.
And the fact that they didn't give her credit at first.
They did not let her know. No.
And so then she was going to sue them, and then it turns out that it kind of got softened out of court. I mean, the story they tell now is that it wasn't gangster rap, and she enjoyed it. What also happened, I'm sure, was that they paid her a good amount, and she was cool with it. I'm sure she wouldn't have been based on the way they tell it, I'm sure that it wouldn't have been as cool if it was, some aggressive, the kind of rap they were doing, people could get behind. But and Lauryn Hill's a generational talent. Wyclef is as well.
Sure.
So I get that it's okay to be associated with it. But hey, you come up with something, you want to get paid. But that to me is one of my favorite. When people talk about how hip hop is not about, it's not like, I think people who are ignorant of it say this sort of thing where it's, they're not making the music, but because they're taking it from other people. How often could you go listen to something like that and turn it into this? You know what I mean?
Right. I listened to the Enya song and I was like, wow, way to go, Fugees. Way to just flip that around, because I could not listen, no offense to Enya, but the beat is not the same. It's
Oh,
just
agreed.
fantastic on a hip hop track. So yeah.
Agreed.
All right.
All the time.
Yeah.
Let's see. I got one here for you.
Okay.
So this song is credited with a couple of different things, and these things aren't hard facts, I would say, but they're more like generally accepted things that have been said. Meaning, this music video is one of the first music videos that's credited as having a seven-figure budget, well
Oh,
over a million. Which I remember when the music video came out, it was like it looked like a movie. There were
yes.
helicopters, tanks, and shit. It's a wild video. And also the fact that it is credited, and I'm just going to read this straight from Wikipedia here. Philosopher Allison Stone credits Ready or Not as one of the earliest examples of a rap song with combined rapped and melodic elements in its vocal parts with a straightforward melodic chorus. So I don't know exactly what that means, but I think what it means is that
I heard melodic.
I think what it means is that it's like and I don't know if that, again, it's hard to say. It's kind of like when we talked about Mariah Carey doing that kind of music working with ODB. I don't know if it was the exact first time that happened, but it popularized it. And this kind of idea of like very melodic thing that we take for granted in hip hop now, but with actual bars of rap as well. That was a pretty, interesting, and I don't want to say brand new, but new-ish thing. And then this song took that to the stratosphere.
Yeah. This song was so good. I mean, it's so good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna listen to this song today for the rest of the day, the whole album. Oh, so thank you for that. You're welcome, people. We don't have to critique this song.
One more fun fact for you. Not released as a single.
Yes.
In the US commercial.
So
however, as a result of that.
Billboard.
Exactly.
I know. No billboard. No billboard. This song was freaking huge. But it did not.
And because of that, and then the interesting thing too is, right, like it didn't chart because of that, but as a result, or separately, I should say, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame named it to, like, it's, again, these lists are fugazi to begin with, but it named it to like some like songs that shape rock and roll type list. Point is that it's not just a song that everybody liked that should have charted anyway. It's a song that like defined an era and a genre, and yet doesn't, only did well in Iceland, technically.
It did chart in Iceland. You're welcome. And it won a Grammy for Best Rap Album. I did watch a few like little interviews with like Wyclef and Pras, and like they were both like, it should have won album a year, but people back then didn't understand that you could put a hip hop album and give it album of the year anyway. Like, what a concept. So yeah, it did win a Grammy, but it was categorized in Best Rap Album. Oh, geez. I mean, I know we've talked a lot about the Fugees breaking up. This was like your outcry for many episodes when we never covered the Fugees until now. And I went on a deep dive of just like the whole, Wyclef and Lauryn Hill, and they were hooking up, and he had a girl who was then his wife. I mean, that stuff is like, I'm eating popcorn here. I kind of forgot about that.
Did you know that?
I did back then. I was like, oh yeah, you know what? Now that I think about it, but then they never really announced that they were breaking up. It was just sort of like, I ended up reading, and we'll get to the lyrics in a second, like the first line, "Ready or Not, Here I Come," in Wyclef's memoir, like Purpose, like an immigrant story, like he wrote a memoir or book. Yep. He says that she was crying during that. And I'm like,
apparently, and they use that reference track, that she cried on. Now, okay, here, I've listened to this song, I don't know, 1,000 times in my life. You've probably listened to it 1,000 times. I listened to it again today after hearing that crying thing. It doesn't sound any different. It doesn't sound like there's tears there to me or anywhere near it, but I believe them, I guess, because, that's what they say. But that all said, the way Pras laid it out in one interview I was reading was that she had left the band for a couple of months and had recorded it before and then came back. And, it was clear, I guess, when it makes it make sense that they broke up. I mean, you knew shit wasn't good, but the breakups, the how close emotion was to the surface for the recording of this song. The fact that things didn't stay, perfect for them is not a surprise at all.
No, but to your point, the fact that Lauryn Hill was crying and sang this, like, I don't know if I could do anything crying well. Like, I can't tie my shoe. I don't think I could sing a song.
And it's also what made me think of it was like, is this not a thing that exists in other art forms, right? Like if you were at a concert, say it was like an unplugged type of show, and any artist, whoever it is, was doing some song and then they started tearing up, you'd be like, you would tell your friends about it forever. You're like, holy
Yes.
shit. John Mayer was doing Gravity and he was crying. But if you did that, if you went to a stand-up show and you were like, I saw Chappelle and he's crying in the middle of this bit, you'd be like, I watched Dave Chappelle have a breakdown on stage. Like it wasn't funny, it was awful, right? Like it just doesn't exist. Even in rap, if a guy was doing like an emotional song and started if Puff Daddy started crying during "I'll Be Missing You,"
I think he
right?
has.
Like, no, when I was a kid, and remember when he performed it, I think at the VMAs or it might have been when he's doing that circular dance around the stage with the sweatpants, and he does that little. I wanted to do that. I've tried so much to be that smooth. Can't do it.
That was your high school dance move. You're like, why doesn't anyone want to dance with me?
If I get married, it'll be my wedding dance. Like someone in the crowd's gonna be like, you know, his wife is right there. She's not missing her. She's right there.
Yeah, your wedding song is missing you. Like very shortly after he gets the divorce.
Trying to tell her something. Why does he have a song about loss as this wedding song?
But yes, to your point, that was such a crazy part was that she recorded this and she was like, here, I give you permission to use this. And then they're like, okay, cool. And then she comes back and she's like, all right, let's do this. So this track had just been sitting like dormant somewhere.
Well, again, this is just me filling this in, but there is no album if she doesn't come back.
Yes.
She's undeniably the most talented, I think Wyclef is equally talented in a different way, but she's the more talented vocal artist, right? Like she's the best rapper of the three of them. She's the best singer of the three of them.
Great looking. She's gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean, she's gorgeous. So she provides them everything that they need that otherwise they're just two dudes.
Yeah.
Talented dudes. I mean, specifically Wyclef.
How do you think Praz feels right now listening to this podcast?
I'm gonna lay into Praz by the end of this. I got a whole thing on Praz, but yeah.
I watched a video of him talking about like, did you know that there was an affair or like something going on between the two of them? And he's like, nah, I was just making money. Like this guy is like the dude over here is just like, okay, I'm here.
If I'm not mistaken, let's do it now. I'll do my Praz rant now. Here's the thing. I'm like again, you know me, I'm a huge Fugees fan. You've always joked about on this podcast, I'm a big Wu-Tang fan. I'm certainly a Fugees fan, I think.
Yes.
If anything, I've always loved that kind of music. Anyway, no one I've ever met who likes the Fugees goes, you know what my favorite verse is on this song? The Praz verse. Literally never. And that's not fair to him necessarily because the other two guys are great. It's like saying you love George Harrison, right? Like, yeah, George Harrison's great, but he's clearly the third best Beatle and it's not up for debate, right? And in this case, there's no one else behind him. There's no Ringo in this band unless you want to think about like, what's his name? The guy that got trouble with drugs and John Forte, right? Like either way, the biggest Praz thing is that I did a little digging on him. I'm pretty sure he either got accepted to a Ivy League school or could have gone. He's a very bright dude. And I think what I mean by that is I think to your point, like how would he feel about this? To bring it back to that, is that I think he kind of knew the deal. Like, that's my sense of it. Like, I'm not going to rock the boat here because I am a contributing member. I'm good, but I'm clearly not them. And if there is no them, there is no group. That's my positive spin on it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, it's funny. Just going back and looking at the Fugees, and we'll get into lyrics, I promise. But I just watched Daisy Jones and the Six. It's something you can stream on.
I'm reading that. I'm reading the book right now. I'm gonna watch the show after.
Okay, so it's based on Fleetwood Mac, apparently.
Oh, okay, cool.
Did you know that?
I did not know.
Which makes sense because like there was like so much incest in that group that like they would write They were all songwriters and they would write like their love song or their hatred towards the other group member, and that's why they had all these bangers because everyone got to contribute to the problem. But so Daisy Jones and the Six, I just finished it. Highly recommend. It's like one season, like 10 episodes or something. But there's, a love thing and a guy cheating on another person. And the drummer of the band Again, this is a fictional band
Yeah,
based
Warren,
on
right?
um
Warren is his name, I
Warren
believe. Yeah.
Rojas, I think he's a Latino. And he's like ends up marrying like a celebrity, but he tells another band member who's jealous of the lead singer, and he's like, dude, you're playing in the biggest band in the world. Like, just enjoy it.
So
Like,
you're saying Praz is the Eddie.
yes.
Yeah. I'm only halfway through the book, but I could sense that he's got a little Praz in him. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's like jealousy. Oh, it's great. It's fantastic. Highly recommend because if you like music.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm gonna watch it. Yeah.
it was like the highest streamed album on Spotify, and that's how I found out about Daisy Jones because I like to listen to new music on Spotify, and I was like, I've never heard this band before. I was like, oh, this is a fictional band. This band does not exist, and now I wish that the band would go on tour because they're so catchy. Anyway, we can go to other lyrics now.
Who could this be?
Who are they? This is not
I mean,
real.
I don't have a ton of
I've got
lyrics.
3.
Okay, here. Let's see. I gotta squint. So you know, what, I don't care about the ring light. So I can actually see here.
Good.
Here, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Well, I'd say, yeah, the first one was Ready or Not, Here It Come. Lauryn Hill's crying in that. That's amazing. It's a very
Okay.
impressive feat. I picked one from Wyclef, Lauryn Hill, and Praz, just to give Praz a little nugget. But for the first
I didn't give Praz
you
shit.
were like, F that.
Yeah.
Wyclef says born again hooligan, only to be king again. I like he just spits the lyric. It's just perfect. Hooligan sounds like king again, obviously, but honestly, it made me really rethink kings because I find them to be hooligans, but just classy hooligans.
The lyric's great. My lyric of his, actually, I'm happy to make fun of a little bit. It's
Okay.
jail bars ain't golden gates. Those who fake they break when they meet their 400-pound mate.
I almost wrote that down.
And I was thinking, like, I get exactly what he's talking about. Why did my man have to be 400 pounds?
That's
right?
that's an uncomfortable sell.
It's a little insulting. It's not enough to be in prison. You got to say, hey, by the way, if you fuck up, you're going to go to jail, and he's also going to be 400 pounds.
Like not 358. Like this is 400.
For a hundo, 4 bills.
Also, I feel like I don't know, the food can't be that good. Like you've been stacked for a while.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I have another Wyclef lyric I'm realizing now, and I don't understand what it means. So I'd love to know if you understood what this lyric was. It's
okay.
I want to play with pelicans from here to Baghdad. Now, I looked it up too, and the lyric still didn't make sense. The lyric that here's the description I found. The genius annotation was, in the gay community, a pelican is slang for a transvestite, and Baghdad is the name of a gay club in Harlem. This lyric is Wyclef hiding his desire to be the drag queen in plain sight.
I don't know if he's desiring that. But...
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't know if that's. Have you heard that slang before?
No, and I don't go to gay bars or regularly.
So let's just assume that that's true. That is the slang, and let's also assume that Baghdad is the name of a gay club in Harlem. Again, never heard of this, but I don't know. Let's just say it is. Even if that's the case, I still don't get that lyric. Lyric doesn't. So much of this song makes like crystal clear.
What was the line before that? There was like one line to set up that line.
He says, money in the bag, banker looked like a drag. I want to play with pelicans from here to Baghdad.
So was he like playing off of the drag too?
Yeah, perhaps. But then what, like, why does he, like, his whole character is a guy who committed a robbery and is in jail as a result of it.
Right. And then he went to.
Is he also a transvestite too?
That would really be a problem for someone going to jail. I'd say that.
Well, I mean, yeah, perhaps maybe that's the point of this lyric, is that like this character that he's talking about is a but then he says, yeah, then he goes, my girl pinched my hips to see if I still exist.
Right.
So
went right into something else. Right.
So this is, I mean, again, maybe the character is a transvestite. Maybe he likes gay club. I don't know what but my point is it just wasn't clear. I'm not a judgment to it. This one was one of those ones that, like, no matter how hard I thought about it, I was like, I don't get what this means.
Wyclef, if you could get online too,
yes, please.
I would appreciate that. My Lauryn Hill one, and I'm sure you wrote this one down too. So while you're imitating Al Capone, I'll be Nina Simone defecating on your microphone. Wow. that sounds awesome, but it also sounds absolutely disgusting. Like, who who's defecating on anything? And also, defecation is such a fancy word. If you knew nothing, if you didn't know what the word meant, and then you're like, oh, it means poop, pooping. How do we go from defecate to poop?
To me, that lyric sums up her brilliance, right? That like she is talking about how all these other hard guy rappers want to try to be gangsters. And while you're out there doing that, she's going to be one of the, like, just the incredible songstress. And she's going to
Yes.
shit all over you in a way that you don't even know that she's doing it, because
No,
she's using a word that most people don't even know what it means. Not most people, but you
absolutely.
know what I mean? Like, yeah. The lyric I had of hers was
Yes.
different. The lyric I had was rap orgies with Porgy and Bess.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought that was a funny thing, a juxtaposition of a, you know, not, it was, I believe Porgy and Bess was a book first that was then turned into, it was adapted as a play and then an opera, Ira and George Gershwin opera. But either way, the point is that just like the idea of an orgy with Porgy and like, just very evocative,
She's
lyrical.
smart.
Yeah.
She's smart.
I have no more lyrics. I have nothing more to say other than this song is just an all-timer.
I actually, so when Praz sings his like 5 lines, I
Yeah, what do
did
you got?
say, toss me high, only puff la with my crew from Lakai, like, which means home in Haitian, like Creole Haitian.
I
Um,
learned that today. I did not know that.
but I was just like, I'd never, like, if I went back, like, I know, like, Buffalo Soldier, like, I know all that. And then when he says that line very quickly, toss me high, only puff la with my crew from Lakai, I was like, hold on a second. I have never worded that correctly.
Well, I knew the lyric about the dance around the border like I'm Cassius Clay. And then again,
Cassius
this
Clay.
is what I mean. He's like George Harrison in that, like, this isn't a bad verse, right? Like,
No,
I mean,
it's
and then also
good.
not really fair to George Harrison. George Harrison was excellent. I mean, the guy put out, I think George Harrison's first album post Beatles was a triple album. That's how much shit
Yeah.
he had. And it was
Mhm.
like banger after banger. But so he's not George Harrison, but I
Yeah.
just mean in the sense,
I know
like,
you.
the idea of like this third, sometimes being the third best is not a bad thing.
No, and he was good. It wasn't like, yeah, your third best means "Wah, you suck," but the other two are just like really good.
Yeah, just
So,
much better.
uh, so yeah. Other than that, and the music video, which looks like a full-on movie, like
Yeah.
it's like a whole war scene. And yes, apparently $1.3 million. And
Yep.
that was also apparently Praz told Vibe magazine, people want to see drama, man.
Oh, that's, yeah, I like that.
A kid pays $16 for your CD. Let him see a good video.
I mean, back then, videos mattered. I think I'm sure I've made this point on this pod before, but like, what is the if you were an artist out now today, why would you even make an album? Why, like, rather, why would you make a video? Like, it just seems to me like you get the same benefit by making a lyric video
Mm,
or some sort of like hiring an animation crew to make a fun video on TikTok. Like, why do you need an expensive music video nowadays?
just yeah. But it sucks because when I go to like bars and I see like the 80s videos just on repeat, like where they just have, I just
Low
love
key,
that.
low key, good feature of bars where they play. There was a bar in the city. Oh God, it was on the Lower East Side. Fat Buddha. You ever been to Fat
Oh
Buddha?
yeah.
Yeah, a fun bar, a lot of hip hop, and that bar I at a handful of times would play the music video to the song that they were playing. I always thought
Yes.
that's always a cool thing when bars do that.
Just RIP to music videos. I don't know. Not really around anymore. Final thoughts?
For anybody who's listening to this for that somehow got to this point and hasn't listened to the score in a long time, listen to the score from start to back, please, for me, for Uncle
A
Scott.
Scott Spinelli,
Yeah.
like way.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, just for me, one time for your mind.
Uh, this song, like I didn't realize, but had a lot of references to other songs, like Curtis Mayfield, Superfly, and then like Buffalo Soldier, Bob Marley,
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah.
Five ruled the world, Nas. They took Enya
Well, no,
song.
that was that. I think that might have that. If I'm not mistaken, that was the Curtis Blow song that they were sampling the
Oh,
Nas, because at that point the Nas song had not come out yet, if I'm not mistaken. But
okay.
let's see here, I had this up.
I heard it and I was like, oh, Nas.
It was the
Just,
Curtis Blow song that no, but then the Nas is so oh no. Well, it is the Curtis Blow song, but The Nas song, I'm sorry, came out in June, and the single for this song was released in August, according to Genius. So the point is that both came out around the same time. Yeah.
Just there were a lot of like sneaky little lyrics in there. And
Oh, yeah.
So if you're a music fan, then you would really, really appreciate this song because it gives you a lot of other songs. Thank you, Scott, for this. We could not critique really any of the lyrics, which goes against this podcast. However, we will still acknowledge good songs.
Yes.
If you love this podcast, please give us 5 stars. I don't care. You have no choice. Just 5. That's it. And find us on YouTube. Catch us on another time for another podcast. Bye-bye now.